Hello, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. This is the third video in making the Beginners Sampler Quilt. I will take you through all steps to complete this quilt. Now there are 12 blocks in all. The third block, which we're going to learn now, is called Roman square. But let's look at the previous block that we learned. This is the anvil. So if you want to catch up and get started, the link to this block is in the upper right hand corner. So you can click on that and it'll take you right to the video that makes the anvil. Okay, let me set this aside. Okay, this is Roman square. You'll also hear it referred to as fence rail, rail fence, fence post. It's all the same thing. Okay, it's all done the same way. It's a really simple block, probably the easiest one that I will give you. You're just making 3 blocks exactly the same, 4 blocks, and then you're going to just stitch those 4 blocks together. Okay, let me put this aside and let me go over the instructions for this. Now this again is called Roman square. The finished size is 12.5 inches square. All the blocks will be 12.5 inches square. You'll need 3 fabrics, 2 dark and 1 light, or 2 light and 1 dark. Okay, so you need to have contrast. All your strips will be 2.5 inches wide, so cut 1 strip. Now if you're not quite sure how to cut strips or squares or rectangles, watch the video Tips for Cutting Quilt Fabric, and that'll go into great detail on how to do that. Now here's the layout of the block. I identify every one of the fabrics there. Okay, A, B, C. All right, let me put this aside. Now I'm going to go over really quick how to cut a strip out. Okay, now I'm not going to go into great detail because remember, watch that video if this isn't enough instruction for you. Make sure this raw edge is already straight. So you're going to make sure you need to trim this one end off. Then to cut your 2.5 inch strip, take your long ruler, find your 2.5 inch line, which is this right here, place it on the raw edge. Okay, line it up there. Now, once you've got it lined up, then take your rotary cutter and cut your strip off. Remember, you're cutting 3 strips, 1 from each of the different colors. Okay, so let me put this aside. Here's the strip that I just cut off for you. You want to cut each end off of the strip. Okay, now this is the folded end over here. So I want to cut that off. I don't want the fold there. So kind of line up your ruler so that it's straight on the edges there and just cut off the end. Now the other end, I'm going to turn this, is the selvage end. You don't want the selvages in this, so make sure you cut that off. So line up your ruler again and then cut off the ends. Do that on each one of your strips. Now you're going to stitch the strips together. All right, so I've already got my 3 stitched together. Now lay out your lightest one in here. So if you're doing 1 light and 2 darks, put the lightest one in the middle. If you're doing 2 lights and 1 dark, put the dark in the middle. Okay, then take one of the dark strips and lay it on the light strip. Line up your edges, pin and stitch 1/4 inch. Okay, then unfold it. Take your other strip and place it on the other side and pin and stitch 1/4 inch. Okay, now you want to press all your seams. So go to your ironing board and press the seam and then press this seam. Now you want to press on the front side. Make sure that your seams are going in the same direction, like I have here. See, they're all going in the same direction. So I'm just going to lift my fabric up a little bit and begin pushing towards those seams to get them to go in that direction. Okay? All right, now remember, you're making 2 of these. Now you need to square and straighten up one end because your ends will be jagged. They're not going to be perfectly together. So don't worry when you're stitching them together that they're not perfectly straight. So go ahead and line up your ruler so it's straight across. What I usually do is I put the 2¼ inch line on one of the seams to make sure that I've got my end straight here. Then cut it off. All right, like that. And just throw that away. Now, I'm going to turn this. Now, here's my previously cut edge. I want this block to be 6½ inches square. So I'm going to take my 6½ inch line right here and lay it on that cut edge that I just did. And then cut. So now you have 1. You need to cut 4 in all. So just move it over and line up that line again, that 6½ inch line, and cut. Now, you can get 1 more out of this strip. You're going to need to cut 1 more out of your second set that you've made. So you need 4 of these in all, okay? You can save your scraps for another project. All right, now, let's arrange these now. Here we go. So, just like that. Now the first block you lay down is going like this. Your second block is going to go this way. See that? All right. Now take your other block, and it's going to be opposite of this one. It's going this way. And then take your last block like that. Now you see these 2 zigzag lines here? That's how it should look. You should see 2 of them going through this block. Now take this block and lay it on top. Okay, pin and stitch 1/4 inch on this edge. Then take the next one, lay it on top, line it up, pin and stitch 1/4 inch. Okay, now you're going to press your blocks. So have it to where you have a different color here. All right, I've got one dark here and the other dark there. Press it on this side, then open up your block, press on the front side and open up this one, and again press on the front side. Now you want to make sure the seams are going in the same direction here. See, they're going out and away from me. Now take your 2 rows, line them back up again, okay, and take this row and place it on top. So there we go, right sides together. Now line up your seam, making sure each seam is going in a different direction. So the one on the bottom is going towards my left, the one on the top is going towards my right. Pin your seam first, then finish pinning it across, and then stitch 1/4 inch all the way across. And when you're done, it should look like this. Okay? And there you go. You are done. You've made 1 Roman square block. Now, the next video will be how to make an hourglass. And all you're doing is making 4 just like this one and just arranging them. And that's your hourglass block. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful. Again, I hope you try to take on this project. I think you'll have a lot of fun and you will learn a lot. Now, to keep informed on all my future videos, click on one of my subscribe buttons. There's one down there in the lower right-hand corner. It's red. It does say subscribe. But in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little round picture of me floating around. Click on that. That's also a subscribe button. When you click click on subscribe, YouTube will prompt you for your email address. Enter that information. The next time I have a new video, YouTube sends you an email with a big button in the center. You click on that button and it takes you directly to my latest video. I'm Cheryl. I'm really glad you came to my sewing room. Now I'll see you next time, and happy sewing.